Hi, I'm Dhruv Advani, a medical student in AIMS Delhi and All India Rank 5 in NEET 2023. Today, I'm here to talk about how to read class 11 and 12 NCERT for biology and to provide a roadmap for NEET 2024. So I'll start off by saying you can divide your 2 years, your 11th and 12th grade, into 3 basic phases. You have your learning phase when you're learning the content for the first time. Then you have your preparatory or your revision phase where you revise the content and you start going through it, writing mock papers for full portion mock papers, etc. And then you have your final revision or your pre-NEET phase, which is essentially your last month after your boards are over and you're giving complete focus to NEET. So during the learning phase, if you're reading NCERT Biology, what you should do is you should focus in class first of all. That is my recommendation for all subjects always. Focus in class, try to understand the concepts being taught. Because there are 2 types of chapters. There are concept heavy chapters and then there are concept heavy chapters and then there are memorization heavy chapters. For concept heavy chapters, I would recommend you understand your lectures, and if you have difficulty in understanding the concept, go through whatever resources you have in order to understand it. In the end, once you're done with all of that, you've understood the concept entirely, you are confident in your understanding, go through the NCERT ones. Don't memorize it yet at this point because this is your initial phase. Okay, and then if it's a memorization heavy chapter, then what you should do is memorize only what is given in the NCERT. If you are going through, let's say, your coaching modules or through some other textbooks, that's all right. I wouldn't recommend it for NEET, but if you are, that's fine. But don't memorize those things. Memorize exclusively what is given in NCERT because that is what will come in the NEET exam. So now concept heavy chapters in biology can include, let's say, human physiology. Then there may be, one second. So concept heavy chapters, there will be human physiology, there can be biotechnology, evolution, etc. On the other hand, if you're looking at memorization heavy chapters, that will be your animal kingdom, plant anatomy, etc. All of those will require a lot of memorization rather than learning or concept understanding. So those you can do mainly from NCERT rather than from any other source. Now we'll come to revision phase. When you want to revise once you're done with your entire, let's say, 11th grade portion and you're trying to revise your 11th grade NCERT, or same for 12th and you're trying to revise both 11th and 12th grade, what you should do is go chapter wise and memorize the entire NCERT. Line by line, every single line, and read it as many times as possible. At least 3 to 4 readings are essential. 3 to 4 memorizations, not readings. And when it comes to biology or any subject and you're reading the NCERT, I would recommend you perform active learning rather than just reading through it. Active learning might be as you read one paragraph and then you keep a notebook next to you, you close the book and write down whatever you remember, or you speak it out loud as you're learning it, which is the method I employed because I'm an auditory learner rather than a visual learner. So whatever works for you, but you have to ensure that you are engaging your brain properly rather than just sitting there and reading it, because your brain will not register every line. And when it's a book like NCERT where each and every sentence is important, they can change a single word and make that a question. It's very important that you memorize everything that you possibly can and read it as many times as you possibly can during your revision phase. And ideally speaking, for me, the revision phase was done by December. I had memorized the complete NCERT for all subjects by the end of December, but give yourself until the end of January if you need to, because then you'll have board exams. So structure your preparation in such a way that you're revising 11th in the start of January and 12th in the end of January, so that by the time boards come around, you've done 12th recently, so you're done with your board prep also. Right, and then we'll come to the pre-NEET phase. This is going to be after your board exams. Let's say in March and April, the entirety of April. That time, I would say if you need to, what I did was I did not touch the NCERT during the last month of preparation because I had done it so well that all I needed to do was write practice exams. And for me, that was my preparation strategy. But if you do need to revise, if you are forgetting things, what you should do is give yourself 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you need to complete the entirety of 11th and 12th biology NCERT. You need to have it memorized. And if you need more time, of course, you can take it. I would just say this is a very good roadmap because after 2 weeks, what you should start doing is writing mock exams. Mock exams are very, very important I would say more than anything, even in biology, which is a theory-based subject, you will learn a lot better through questions than you will just by reading the NCERT. So give yourselves 2 weeks, memorize the NCERT in a way you need to, and then write mock exams. Once you're writing the mock exams, analyze your errors and open the textbook only when you need to revise certain parts, where you're getting errors, where something is wrong. Only those parts you're revising rather than reading through the entire chapters again. Because there's not enough time, frankly, in just 1.5 months to revise everything in every chapter. Now we'll come to the overall strategy for just reading the textbook, because it is very text heavy. It can get annoying to read. What you should do is, first of all, if this is your NCERT page, let's say there's a diagram here, there's a lot of text here. What you need to do is, what I did at least, was take colored highlighters. You need not have a color code, it made it easier for me to read the textbook, because I would get very annoyed by the huge paragraphs of text. So ensure you're highlighting important points. In your first reading, you will find some things being important. You will highlight those in one color. In the next time when you're revising, find out things you missed, that when you read it again, don't highlight the same things again. But there will be some things you remember, some things you don't remember. So the parts you don't remember that you need to ensure that you remember properly, highlight those again in a different color. And keep repeating this. Eventually you'll reach a point where you've done most of the points, because it's not possible to perfectly memorize the NCERT. It's too much text for that. But you should try your best to do as much as you can. And diagrams are very, very important. Do not neglect diagrams at all, because they will be asked, even though it's an MCQ exam, the diagrams, you can be asked the markings, you can be asked the labelings or the structures, etc. So it's very important to ensure that you do the diagrams properly. And even the boxes, the text that is given at the bottom of the images, sometimes that also contains content that is not present within the text itself, and that is also very important to revise. For example, I remember, I think in respiration in 11th grade, there's a conflict in our textbook. There was a conflict in between the text and the image was considered correct because it was given in 2 places. So ensure that you're reading through the NCERT line by line. You're highlighting if you're a visual learner, or if that helps you, and ensure that you're doing the diagrams also very well. And one more very important thing that I didn't realize was, there will be some extra points that you will be told during your classes, or you'll come across when you're solving papers. And instead of keeping a notebook or something for that, in the sides of your NCERT, you will have some space left. Ensure you're utilizing that space properly, whether it's for extra points or it's for things you keep forgetting. Write that in the sides. Like for me, my entire NCERT margins were filled with colors and points and post-it notes and everything, because whatever I did not remember in an exam and I realized that was a point I was missing, I just jotted down in the side again. And if there was an extra point I came across in a previous year paper, or something I found that I thought was very, very important, I just noted down. Same with the diagrams. There are some labelings that are present in the diagram. There are some labelings that are not, that might be necessary for your understanding. Do those in pencil. You need not memorize those, but it helps in understanding a lot. In chapters like Animal Kingdom and all, there were parts of the animal that were not listed, but they helped me a lot in memorizing how those animals function and everything. So that's why utilize your NCERT completely. The margins, the text, make sure it's colored and you're able to remember it properly, and the diagrams are ensure you do the diagrams very well. So I'll summarize now. So basically what we need to do is, there are 3 phases of learning. In your learning phase, do the NCERT once you've understood the concept completely for concept heavy chapters. And if you have a memorization heavy chapter, ensure that you are memorizing only the content that is given in the NCERT for examples and everything like that. Then if you are coming to your revision phase, start memorizing the NCERT at this point. If you're not able to memorize it at this point, start memorizing properly during the revision phase. Go through it as many times as possible, and ensure that utilize a system where every time you go through the NCERT, you're learning something new and you're noting down what you learned was new. So for example, the highlighter system that I talked about, where you're using different color highlighters every time to show that you remember this from the last time, but you forgot it, you forgot something else and you're noting it down, or you missed a particular point, etc. So Then during the pre-NEET phase, which is the final phase, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. During the pre-NEET phase, try your best. If you're learning new points, try to do it early in the month. Near the end of the month, I would recommend no new learnings. Okay, you're not going through the chapter again. Try whatever you've learned, you have it in your mind now. All you have to do is revise whatever you already know. No new concepts that you've missed out or anything. Ensure that you've finished everything by this time. And once you enter your last month, give yourself 2 weeks to complete the NCERT if you need to. Otherwise, what you're going to do is check only those concepts in which you have doubts. Okay. And overall, just looking at the NCERT book, what is important? Diagrams are very important. Do not forget to do the diagrams and the text underneath the diagrams. Ensure that you are completing every single line of text as far as possible. And last but not least, ensure that you are utilizing the margins well. Utilize margins, ensure that you are remembering everything that you need to remember. So these are my tips for revising the NCERT or reading the class 11th and 12th NCERT biology textbook. These are my tips for how to read the biology textbook for 11th and 12th grade. All the very best to NEET 2024 aspirants.